A single guy mouths off to a supposed angel, and in the next instant his head is blown apart. That is when everyone realizes this radiant being is not some holy savior. She drops out of nowhere, seizes control of innocent people's lives, and throws them into a death game designed for humans to lose. Again and again, she watches terrified players get slaughtered with a smile on her face, treating their deaths like entertainment. But then there is Ryu Min. Unlike everyone else, he tears through the monsters at a ridiculous pace and climbs straight to the top of the rankings. Then he does something so reckless that the entire lobby is left speechless. After claiming MVP, he looks the angel dead in the eye and asks for a better reward. That one sentence makes her snap. She wants him gone immediately, but there is a problem. She already used her authority to kill one player, so doing it again would break the system's rules. So she changes tactics. She offers him a private discussion and leads him away from the others, deeper and deeper into a thick forest. All the while, she is fuming inside, disgusted that a human dared to get greedy in front of her, yet unable to crush him on the spot. If she kills him too openly, the admins will notice. So she tries to lure him off the grid, planning to blame everything on him crossing the map boundary. The moment she thinks she has him cornered, she turns to make her move. Ryu Min beats her to it. He drives a devastating punch straight into her face. She crashes into the dirt, staring at the blood in disbelief, unable to process that a mere human just sent her flying. Then things get even worse. When she looks up, he is gone. A second later, he appears behind her like a horror movie monster, grabs her by the throat and wing and starts tearing her apart. He rips off her wings while ignoring every scream. Once she is helpless, he pulls out a dagger and finishes her with one precise strike. As her body drops, the system announces something unprecedented. Ryu Min has just become the first player in history to kill an angel. The rewards are absurd. He gains the title First Angel Slayer, which doubles all his stats whenever he faces divine beings. He obtains Angel's Blood, the key item needed to unlock the Reaper class. And he acquires the Rune of Slaughter, a terrifying rune that boosts his stats by 1% for every enemy he kills until the round ends. So the real question is not whether Ryu Min is overpowered. It is how he became this prepared, this ruthless, and this fearless in the first place. The answer is simple. This is not his first time here. Ryu Min has already lived through this nightmare 99 times. He remembers the routes, the quests, the traps, the rewards, and the fastest way to survive every opening move of the game. In his 99th life, he pushed farther than ever before. He defeated the Guardians protecting the final boss room and stood right at the end of the entire trial. Then the system hit him with the cruelest condition of all. The final raid could only be entered with a party of at least 5. Ryu Min had the strength to reach the end, but not the teammates to cross it. So the system erased him and sent him all the way back to the beginning. And on this 100th regression, his final one, he is no longer trying to merely survive. He is here to finish the game for good. To see how everything led to that impossible angel kill, we need to return to the exact moment this nightmare began. The city glows under the night sky as a crowd gathers for the New Year countdown. A sign rises above them and tells everyone to count down from 5 together. In the middle of the crowd, Ryu Min stands still in a hooded jacket while blue energy flickers around his body. The count reaches 5 as the people around him keep cheering. Ryu Min looks down at himself and realizes he came back. His hands shake in front of him as he says he returned to the time before he got swept away in this damned game. He stares at his trembling fist and says he had already reached the 20th round. When the count drops to 2, Ryu Min lowers his head and says that if he could, he would stop time. A message appears in front of him and shows Rune of Regression with the number of uses at 100 out of 100. As the final second approaches, Ryu Min lifts his eyes and says, "This is the last time anyway." He decides he is going to finish this game. He touches his face and steadies himself, then says he needs to bring 4 other people with him to the last round. A few minutes earlier, the scene shifts to a group of young men standing together in the same crowd. One of them asks if they still need their fake IDs now that they are about to be adults. Another answers right away that, of course, they do. The conversation keeps rolling as one guy wonders what he should do after graduation and jokes about becoming a delivery man. The bald young man turns and asks Ryu Min what he is going to do. Ryu Min grins and says he is going to become a gangster. One of his friends warns him that if he makes a mistake he could really die. Ryu Min just shrugs it off and says you only live once, and if he wants to live a messed up life, then so what? The others laugh, but one of them silently thinks he should cut Ryu Min off after they graduate. The talk shifts toward Ryu Min as one of them asks what will happen to Ryu Min's personal shuttle after graduation. Ryu Min calls him a poor, gloomy bastard and says he cannot get rid of him even after graduation. The others pile on, saying it is sad and that Ryu Min probably thought everything would end after graduation, while the bald guy points at Ryu Min and calls him the devil. Ryu Min smirks and says who said it was the end because he plans to keep playing with him as long as he can. Then one of the boys pauses and notices that Ryu Min's shuttle is standing over there. The New Year countdown starts again as Ryu Min stands motionless in the middle of the crowd. Ryu Min smiles and joins the count at 5. At 4, blue flames start rising around Ryu Min again. By 2, Ryu Min is staring at him with a confused expression and mutters, "That bastard." When the countdown reaches 1, Ryu Min removes his hood and stares back at Ryu Min. Ryu Min watches him closely and says Ryu Min looks different. The celebration erupts into the new year and Ryu Min complains that Ryu Min keeps glaring at him. One of the others tells him to let it go since it is the first day of the new year and today is not his only chance. Ryu Min glares back and finally says he will let him go today. Around them, the crowd cheers and says they are finally adults and wishes each other a happy new year. Ryu Min stands apart from them and quietly watches. Then a strange golden voice cuts through the scene and says humans are interesting for celebrating the new year without knowing what situation they are in. A massive golden light opens above the crowd and a winged figure appears in the sky. People stare up in shock as the figure hovers over the city like an angel. Ryu Min lifts his head and looks straight at her while saying she appeared. He adds that he still hates it, even though this is already the 99th time. The angel covers part of her face with her hand and calls humans trash-like. She says her appearance seems to have worked like a love potion but tells them not to think useless thoughts because she has no intention of being around trash. Looking down at the stunned crowd, she says that since they can hear her voice so clearly it seems they are all seeing the same thing. One man in the crowd points up and shouts, asking who she is and whether she is just cosplaying as an angel. He keeps yelling at her, mocking her, and talking back, without understanding the danger. Ryu Min turns his head slightly as the angel calls his words a shame. Her expression changes, a red glow flashes from beneath her face covering, and she says how annoying. In the next instant, a violent slash tears through the man, and blood explodes across the crowd. His friend stumbles back in horror, covered in blood and screaming. Panic spreads immediately as people recoil and stare at the body on the ground. Ryu Min freezes in place, sweating as he looks toward the blood and asks what the hell that thing is. The angel looks down at the crowd and calls him a lowly human. She warns them not to speak informally to her mighty self. She says humans have no right to ask her questions or act arrogantly. If they do not want their heads to explode like that man's, then they need to understand what is going on. She mocks them again and says inferior humans would not know anyway. Ryu Min turns slightly and stays quiet while the crowd stares up at her. He says the extra explanation is just the same as the last time, so there is no need for him to listen closely. The angel spreads her wings and finally explains that from now on, they will be playing a game. For 20 rounds on the first day of every month, their souls will be transported to a new dimension to participate in it. She says the goal is simple. They need to complete the given quests. People in the crowd start trying to make sense of it, wondering if clearing the quest means they will be spared. The angel immediately cuts that hope down and says not everyone will survive even if the quest is completed. She says she will spare only half of the participants in order of completion. Ryu Min looks up at her in silence, while others around him start panicking. One of the men stares in disbelief and asks how that is even possible. The angel smiles and tells them not to worry too much because she will not be taking all of them. Ryu Min folds his arms and keeps listening, while someone nearby tells the others to be quiet. The angel says only humans around the world between the ages of 15 and 29 will participate. Ryu Min remains calm and notes that he did not know he would end up doing this game 100 times as soon as he turned 20. One older man suddenly bursts out in relief and shouts that he is saved. A younger man lunges at him, grabs him by the collar, and yells that this is no time to celebrate. Young Min steps in right behind him and shouts for him to shut up. He reminds him that a man's head just exploded in front of them. Above them, the angel looks over the participants and says there are 1,801,029,290 of them. Then, she says that now the explanation is done, they can start the game. In an instant, Ryu Min finds himself standing alone in a blank white space. A message tells him that everyone has entered their own individual space that only they can see. Another message says they need to shape his body in preparation for the soul transfer. It calls the process a kind of customization. Ryu Min faces a reflection of himself and calmly says he is just going to choose the same thing again. He lowers his head toward the glowing figure and says his nickname is Black Scythe. The white space disappears, and the wide green field opens under a bright blue sky. Ryu Min now stands there in a different outfit as light finishes washing over him. He says this makes it the 100th time. He checks his body while the other participants around him admire their new looks and altered bodies. Ryu Min says that, as usual, everyone tried to make themselves look cool and pretty. He warns that it is a stupid choice because the strong prey on the weak there, and standing out only makes someone an easier target. He adds that if you die in the other world, you die in the real world too. Then his eyes sharpen as he spots a familiar figure. He says there he is, Young Min. Young Min now stands nearby with a much larger, heavily built body. Ryu Min notes that, as expected, he made himself buff. The angel appears above the field again and looks down at the crowd. She says their fearful expressions are great and explains that the people there are only those from Seoul. She says the full number is still 1-801-029-240. When a few people question the number, she laughs and asks if they really think that is the only space. She says other angels are handling the round in other spaces as well. Then she begins a simpler explanation for the official start. She tells them to say the status window in their heads. Golden panels appear in front of the participants. Ryu Min looks at his own status window. It shows his name as Ryu Min and his nickname as Black Scythe. It lists him as a beginner at level 1 with no class and no title. His strength, intelligence, agility, and luck are all set at 3. He has no stat points, no normal skills, no unique skills, and no rune. Below that, several additional skills are shown as locked until later levels. Ryu Min looks at the panel and says it is making him sigh. The angel asks if everyone can see their status windows. She tells them that if they have played games before, they should understand how weak they are right now. She says they need to become stronger. If they survive until the end and clear all 20 rounds, they will be free from the survival game. Then she adds one more reward. She says they will be granted a wish. That single promise instantly stirs the crowd. The angel says that since they will receive it only if they come in first, she has prepared a gift. Young Min looks at his panel and opens an inventory screen. Inside is a glowing red stone. He stares at it and wonders if it is a random rune. The angel explains that the random rune can only be used once. It can only be used at level 1, and it is the only item given to them at the start. She tells them that if they hold it and say it in their heads, they will be able to activate it. Young Min does exactly that. The red crystal breaks apart in his hands, and a sharp light flashes out. He stares at the result and only lets out a stunned sound. Above him, the angel watches and says that, judging from his expression, he is not pleased. Then she coldly reminds him that no matter what he gets, he has to accept the outcome. That is his luck. The angel says that since they are done with the runes, it is time to move on to the real thing. She snaps her fingers and glowing panels flare up in front of the participants across the field. A large quest window appears and announces round 1. The quest is simple and brutal. Each person has to kill 100 goblins. The screen also shows the total number of participants and the number assigned to their current area. Not far away, a goblin finally appears in the open field. People stare at it and nervously ask if that is really a goblin. Some still try to convince themselves it might just be a weak monster or some kind of test. The angel immediately crushes that hope and says that all the goblins have not even been summoned yet. Then her tone turns vicious. She declares that 10,000 humans will face 50,000 goblins, and she tells them to fight to the death. The next second, a wave of goblins comes screaming forward. The crowd instantly breaks apart. People panic, run, and shout over each other as the monsters rush straight at them. Ryu Min does not freeze. He steps forward and starts moving in the opposite direction from the panicking crowd. Someone behind him notices and yells at him to come back. Another voice screams that the monsters are too close. Ryu Min glances back once, his eyes sharpen, and then he explodes into motion. He launches himself forward in a single burst. His body cuts through the air and slams hard into a goblin. The impact lands fast and clean as the first clash begins. And from that very first clash, the real massacre begins. When you are part of a group, the first impression matters. Ryu Min charges straight into the fight and makes sure everyone sees it. He crashes through the first goblin with raw force and sends it flipping across the grass. The creature drops its dagger as it tumbles away. Ryu Min reaches down, picks the blade up, and grips it without hesitation. He raises his head, calm and steady, with the weapon hanging at his side. Above him, the angel watches from the sky. Ryu Min makes it clear that he wants her attention too, so he puts on a show. 2 goblins rush him at the same time. He swings once, then keeps moving through the attack. His blade tears across both of them in one flowing motion. The people watching from behind freeze in shock. They start calling him insane, saying he looks like some kind of special agent, and even mention Black Scythe like it already sounds impressive. Then they notice the goblins are still coming. Some try to convince themselves they can handle weak mobs like these too. That confidence lasts only a moment. A goblin suddenly slams into one of the men and knocks him flat on his back. The hit leaves him stunned as the people around him recoil in fear. Panic spreads all over again. People scream for help and shout that the goblins are swarming in again. The field turns into chaos as monsters pile into the crowd and bodies start dropping. At that point, nobody can mistake this for a game anymore. A bloodied body lies in the grass with a goblin standing over it, dagger raised, while a woman nearby stares in horror. Only one thought is taking over now. Survival. The instinct to survive takes over, and people begin running in panic, blindly, without any sense of direction. Ryu Min moves through the chaos, his eyes fixed straight ahead. He slices past another goblin, recalling the same mistake he made before. It took him dying twice to realize the truth. There is no escape from this dimension. Up ahead, a woman runs aimlessly. She suddenly slams into an invisible barrier, her body bouncing off it. She freezes, staring at it in shock. Modern people who have never even hunted a small animal cannot easily bring themselves to kill a goblin. One man forces a goblin down and tries to stab it, but he still hesitates. That pause costs him. The goblin jerks back up, slashes at him, and sends him screaming. All across the field, the same thing keeps happening. People get overwhelmed, cut down, and dragged into the grass while the angel watches from above and enjoys the spectacle. She mocks the whole scene, saying humans may be able to stand against one goblin, but not against an entire swarm, especially when all they have are daggers. Then her attention shifts. Ryu Min keeps moving differently from everyone else. He cuts through goblins one after another while the angel watches him from above and wonders what his deal is. A quest window flashes near her line of sight. Black Scythe. Quest progress. Goblins slain, 70 out of 100. Even she seems annoyed that the system only shows quest progress. Still, she admits that some of these mortals are unexpectedly interesting to watch. Down below, Ryu Min's blade comes down again and splits another goblin cleanly. Messages flash one after another. He has slain a goblin. He gains experience. He gains gold. Then another message appears. He has leveled up. His quest progress jumps again, now 71 out of 100. More goblins pour toward him, and Ryu Min slips straight into them. He twists past one attack, drives his knife down through a goblin, and explodes blue force through the impact. His face is smeared with dark blood now, and one eye glows red as he looks over his shoulder. He asks if they are just going to stand back. The goblins hesitate for a split second. Ryu Min lowers his hand, breathes out, and says he guesses he can take a breath. Then he calls up his status window. It shows Ryu Min, nicknamed Black Scythe, now at level 4. His basic stats are still all at 3, but he has 6 stat points waiting. He notes that he must have advanced to level 4 and remembers that each level gives 2 stat points. Without hesitation, he dumps every point into agility. Agility jumps up fast. Ryu Min knows that agility boosts dodge rate, attack speed, and movement speed. For him, nothing matters more than agility at the start. He decides that this rate of growth should be enough to pull even more attention, and he prepares to finish things faster. He spins the dagger once in his hand and faces the next wave. A goblin rushes in first. Ryu Min points at them and calmly asks if they are not coming at him. The goblins answer with a shriek and charge together. Ryu Min exhales once and starts forward. Ryu Min bursts forward first. He tears across the field in a blur, leaving the goblins behind as he says he will come to them himself. One goblin lunges in, but Ryu Min's blade flashes blue before it can reach him. The slash rips straight through the monster and keeps going. More goblins are caught in the same sweeping line of motion as his attack cuts across the field in one wide arc. The next instant, the reward windows start popping up again. He gains more experience, more gold, and levels up once more. Then another panel appears. Quest progress reaches 100 out of 100. A second message immediately confirms that he has completed the first round quest. Golden light pours down around Ryu Min as he stands still in the middle of the field with the dagger in his hand. He looks up calmly and treats the first round like an easy pass. He admits he rushed through the goblins to catch the angel's attention, but that was not his only goal. More windows appear in front of him. He achieved rank 1 in completing the quest in his zone. He also achieved rank 1 across all zones. A ranking screen confirms Black Scythe at the top in both the all zones category and his given zone. Ryu Min says he needed to secure first place. He knows the faster a quest is cleared, the better the rewards become, since they are granted by rank through third place. The reward for rank 1 in the given zone appears first. It is a low-rank rare weapon selection coupon. Then a second reward appears for rank 1 across all zones. This one is a special reward selection box. Ryu Min immediately sees the value in it and says he can gain something far better than everyone else. He opens the weapon selection for the given zone reward first. A reward window offers 3 rare weapons: blue-edged longsword, stiletto, javelin. Ryu Min studies the choices while still holding the goblin dagger. He decides it is a shame, but having one of these this early is still valuable. He makes his choice. A new panel appears and confirms that he acquired stiletto. Its details fill the screen. It is a rare weapon with attack power 15, agility +1, full durability, and a beginner requirement. It is described as the best dagger available to beginners. Ryu Min looks down at the crude goblin dagger on the grass and decides it is time to throw that trash away. He keeps the All Zones special reward box for later instead of opening it right away. Around him, other survivors are still fighting desperately while he casually calls up his status window again. Then something catches his attention. He pauses, thinking back, and notices a title he had received earlier. The title reads, "Last Time Regressor," and it is marked hidden. Ryu Min realizes he has never seen that title in any of his previous 99 tries. He stops hesitating, raises the red fragment in his hand, and says use. The crystal breaks apart in his palm. System messages appear one after another. He has used a random rune fragment. Then comes the result. Congratulations. Rune of Regression acquired. Another message says the acquired rune will be imprinted on the player's body. Ryu Min looks at his hand in silence. Then the next line changes everything. The remnants of this rune are detected in the player's soul. The imprinting failed due to the rune's traits. Ryu Min stays calm and says the result was kind of obvious. A new imprint would only mean he could regress forever. Another message confirms that the remnants of the rune in his soul prove this is his 100th regression. Ryu Min stares at the screen, caught off guard for the first time. Then another message appears. Title: Last Time Regressor has been acquired. His expression shifts from confusion to shock. And then the explanation follows. In this game, titles stand above runes as higher concepts. A large title window opens and reveals the full effect of Last Time Regressor. To obtain it, the player must secure the 100th rune of regression. Its effect is overwhelming. Upon death, he can remain in soul form for 1 minute. From there, he can be resurrected at any point in time he chooses with all of his health fully restored. And because it is a single-use ability, the title disappears after that resurrection. The comparison hits even harder because resurrection only exists as a priest skill. And even that skill restores only up to 30% of the target's health. Meanwhile, he stands there realizing he now holds a resurrection that restores everything. He realizes he has just gotten his hands on something amazing. But Ryu Min's first place finish is only the beginning of what he has been setting up. Ryu Min realizes he has come across something truly valuable. Instead of showing it off, he immediately decides to keep it hidden. A title window appears in front of him with a public and private setting. The note explains that even if the title is set to private, its effect will still apply, but it will not appear under the user's name. Ryu Min stretches his arms and looks around the field. He figures that the people who finished the quest should be coming out around now. Then he wonders how Young Min is doing. A moment later, he spots him. Young Min is still fighting beside another survivor, both of them bloodied but standing. Ryu Min quietly notes that Young Min looks like he will survive this time too. Golden beams start rising across the field as more people clear the quest. The angel watches the field with a grin and says it was starting to get boring to watch. Then she looks down at the surviving crowd and starts talking again. She says the human number should be reduced until it matches the number of goblins. For a moment, the survivors do not understand what she means. Then she says it was her mistake and asks if she should make things more fun. A wounded blonde woman looks up in confusion. A badly injured man in her arm starts glowing with golden light. Nearby bodies begin vanishing one after another. People stare in disbelief and ask what is happening. From above, the angel looks down as the field fills with more rising golden light. Then the next wave begins. Fresh goblins suddenly drop into the area in a dense swarm. The survivors freeze in horror as the monsters come rushing back. The angel laughs and announces that she has given them a free refill. She says that should be enough. At once, panic erupts again. People scream and charge back into combat. Some swing wildly in desperation while blood splashes across the scene. One man gets his throat bitten as he struggles with a goblin at close range. A counter appears and shows that the number of people who have cleared the quest is still far below the required half. Ryu Min stays where he is inside the golden light, kneeling calmly while the slaughter continues around him. A nearby man raises his bloodied hand as if trying to stop what is happening. In front of him, a goblin is cut down, but the count of cleared survivors still keeps climbing. The angel watches Ryu Min from above, her expression tightening. Ryu Min lifts his head and looks back at her. Then the field fills with even more golden pillars, until the cleared count finally reaches the exact number needed. The remaining survivors stare around in confusion and realize the goblins are disappearing again. The angel spreads her wings and declares that half have now passed. She says that means the quest is complete. Then she coldly adds that she is sorry, but the rest will have to die because those are the rules of this game. The people who were just short of clearing it lose their composure instantly. They beg for more time and scream that they only need one more. Golden light wraps around them anyway. Others can only stand there and watch in silence. The angel looks down on the survivors and tells them to be happy they are alive. She says that those who survived may return now. Then she congratulates them on passing the first round and says she hopes they will make it to the second round too. Before sending them back, she offers to show the detailed results. A result window opens and lists the first round rankings. Black Scythe is first in all areas, and also first in the applicable area. Another window confirms that Black Scythe currently holds first place in both categories. A reward panel follows. It lists a ranking reward, a rare weapon selection coupon, a special reward selection box, and a clear reward of 1,000 gold. Another message confirms that Ryu Min has earned 1,000 gold for clearing the quest and says the shop will become available once he reaches level 10. Standing in the golden light, Ryu Min notices the people around him, glancing his way. He realizes everyone knows he is in first place now. High above, the angel stares down at him and says it is impressive for someone from her area to rank first in all areas. She calls out Black Scythe and demands an answer. Ryu Min looks up and calmly replies. The angel asks how he became so strong and whether he obtained some special rune. Ryu Min immediately thinks it is nonsense. Then he tells her she can check his rune and his status window herself. The angel answers at once that she already knew all of that because she is an angel. She insists she was only asking. Ryu Min does not buy it. He calls her an angel and asks if he can request a favor. The angel pauses at that. Ryu Min stands under the beams of light, looking up at her, and says the rewards for getting first place are a little too stingy. The people nearby whip their heads toward him in shock. The angel's face darkens. She asks what he just said. Ryu Min folds his arms and plainly says that he wants a better reward because he does not like what he got. For a beat, the angel says nothing. Then she stares at him from above, furious that a human just dared demand something from her. Her expression twists as she glares down at him. She admits that she kept an eye on him because he did well from the start. But now she sees him as an arrogant little bastard who thinks killing some goblins gives him the right to look down on her. Her hand rises sharply as if she is about to use her power again. Then she stops. She remembers she already used that authority earlier. The angel clenches her fist in frustration. She grits out that she cannot even kill him now. The angel suddenly pauses. Then her eye widens, and her mood shifts in an instant. A slow smile spreads across her face as she says she has a great idea. Looking down at Ryu Min inside the golden pillar, she asks if he wants a better reward. Instead of rejecting him on the spot, she drops to the ground. She says that a request like this would normally be denied right away, but she will think about it if they discuss it in private. She tells the other humans to wait until she comes back. The survivors watch in confusion as the angel approaches Ryu Min directly. Some of them start wondering if a negotiation with an angel actually worked. Others even ask if they should demand better rewards too. One man says that someone would probably need to rank first like Black Scythe to even try something like that. Another looks at Ryu Min from a distance and admits he envies him and wonders how good the reward will be. Ryu Min turns his head slightly. Then he notices Young Min staring at him from another beam of light. The two lock eyes for a moment. Ryu Min gives the faintest smile, then turns away and walks off. The angel follows him into a quiet forest path away from the others. She complains that he keeps such a distance from her, and Ryu Min calmly says he just wants to keep checking that she is still there. The angel snaps back that humans are stupid and greedy, and that they never understand anything unless it is spelled out for them. She keeps walking and grumbles that she has no way to change a reward when she did not even choose it herself. Then her thoughts grow darker. She admits that she would have given him a better reward if she had the power, but immediately twists that into spite. She decides he should take whatever he can get and says she will teach him a lesson for being greedy. As they move deeper into the woods, she thinks that she will kill him once they get far enough. She worries that killing a player for personal reasons could become a problem, especially if others later complain about fairness. She even considers that higher-ups could blame her for ruining the game. So she decides she needs to make sure there are no witnesses. Her smile turns vicious. She looks back at him and asks again what kind of reward he wanted. Before she can finish the question, Ryu Min moves. He closes the gap in a single step and drives a punch straight into her face. The blow lands hard enough to twist her head and send her body flying sideways. Her wings flare wildly as she is hurled off balance. For the first time, the angel is completely stunned. And the private conversation the angel thought would end with his death becomes the moment everything turns against her. The angel reels from the blow and crashes down hard. Ryu Min stands over her while she is still trying to process what just happened. She touches her face in disbelief and realizes that a human really did hit her. Her rage explodes immediately. She lunges up, screaming at him, but Ryu Min vanishes from where he was standing. Before she can react, he appears behind her. His hand clamps onto her wing, and he rips into it with brutal force. The angel jerks in shock and screams for him to stop, but Ryu Min keeps going. Feathers burst into the air as he tears through her wings again and again. Each strike lands fast and clean, and the sound of the impact snaps through the forest. He grabs another wing and slams her down while golden light sprays out around them. Then he looks at her coldly and tells her to stop crying. Ryu Min keeps beating her until her wings are shredded and her movements slow down. He tells her that now she will not be able to run. The angel trembles on the forest floor, clutching the damaged wing as the pain sets in. Ryu Min mocks the obvious answer and calmly says the tables would have turned in just 5 minutes. A crooked smile spreads across his face while the angel stares back in disbelief. Then he points out the hidden dagger tucked inside the wing. He had already seen the attempt coming. The angel goes silent for a moment, completely shaken. Ryu Min says he knew it. The angel tries to deny it, but the panic is already written all over that face. Ryu Min smiles even wider and says there is no point in lying. He says he can tell just by looking at Burial. The name alone hits hard. Burial stiffens in shock, unable to understand how a human could know it. Ryu Min cuts that thought off immediately and tells Burial there is no point in knowing. Then he reaches down and pulls out the concealed blade. Burial recoils at once and stares at the weapon in alarm. Ryu Min holds the dagger up and asks what it looks like he is doing. Burial panics and warns him not to do anything reckless, rambling about heads exploding with a snap of the fingers. Ryu Min shuts that down just as calmly as everything else. He says Burial no longer has the ability to kill. That single line lands harder than the blade. Burial's face twists with fear, and the confidence is gone. Still trembling, Burial tries one last threat and says comrades will not stay still over this. Ryu Min dismisses that instantly. He calls it nonsense and says angels are selfish beings who do not care about anyone else's business. Whether Burial lives or dies, he doubts any of them would care. Burial can only stare back, shaken and speechless. Ryu Min finally decides he has heard enough. He says he will send Burial off now. Burial hurriedly begs him to wait and insists there is no benefit in killing here. Ryu Min answers without hesitation. He says there is a benefit, even if Burial would never understand it. Then he reveals one more thing. He says the system sends him back automatically once the settlement is over. That stops Burial again. The angel cannot hide the shock and asks how he could possibly know that too. Now Burial's fear turns desperate. Promises spill out all at once, offering every piece of information in exchange for one chance to live. Ryu Min does not waver. He says he does not need any of it. If he wanted answers, he could have forced them out already. Burial's ecosystem, Burial's purpose, and even the truth that Burial is nothing more than a chess piece pretending to be a guide. That is the moment Burial truly breaks. Before the angel can finish the next question, Ryu Min explodes forward. The strike lands in a blur of motion and light. A moment later, a system window appears. An angel has been defeated. Another window confirms that Ryu Min is the first player ever to defeat an angel. Then the title appears. The first angel slayer has been awarded. More rewards follow at once. He receives angel blood for the first angel kill. He receives a rune of slaughter for the first angel kill. The rune is automatically imprinted on his body as golden light coils around him. Ryu Min looks at the reward calmly and says that this time he came first exactly as expected. A title panel opens for the first angel slayer. Its effect says that when facing sacred beings, all stats are doubled. Ryu Min explains that he first learned about this reward much later, while taking revenge on an angel on his 13th attempt. The rune of slaughter is shown next. Its effect raises all stats by 1% every time a target is killed, up to 100%, and it lasts until the round ends. Ryu Min notes that each one of these rewards is on the level of a unique item. Then he reveals the real reason he killed an angel. He lifts a glowing item and shows another reward window. Angel's Blood. It is a unique consumable that can change his class to Reaper. The window explains that only the first player to kill an angel earns the right to change into the angel's natural enemy, a Reaper. Ryu Min explains that players normally get a class starting at level 10. There are 30 classes in total, and class changing usually happens through a class change item earned naturally or by clearing certain conditions. But there are exceptions. Unique classes exist for players who meet special circumstances, and they are on a completely different level from regular classes. Bonus stats, advanced runes, and stronger growth all come with them. Ryu Min says that even with all that, he came back before he could clear the first round. So first, he opens his inventory. Inside are his weapon, his unopened special reward box, and his other items. Now he turns to the reward for finishing first across all regions. A reward window appears and offers 3 choices: a 3x experience buff maintained for round 2, 2,000 gold, or information on round 2. Ryu Min says the priority is reaching level 10 quickly and changing classes as soon as possible. Without hesitation, he selects the 3x experience buff. The system confirms the choice and says the buff for round 2 has been applied automatically. Ryu Min stands over the fallen angel and decides there is no reason to leave yet. He says this attempt is final, so he has no choice but to run now. The angel's body starts breaking apart into light beneath his feet. Ryu Min says he has to become stronger by any means necessary. A system window appears and announces the end of round 1. It shows the survivors across all regions and in the current region, then says the soul will return to the user's body and that round 2 will begin 1 month later. The scene cuts back to the city at night. Ryu Min jerks awake under the New Year lights and grabs at the ground. He looks around at the crowd sprawled across the plaza and realizes the New Year bell is ringing again. He wonders if everyone collapsed like he did. Around him, people slowly stir, groaning that they must have fainted and had a strange dream. Ryu Min pulls out his phone and sees that it is 5:20. The exact same amount of time has passed as it did in the game. His head pounds, and the others around him complain that their bodies are sore too. He turns and sees his friends starting to wake up nearby. One of them asks if Ryu Min fainted too, and another says not just him, but everyone here did. The group pieces it together out loud. They all fell asleep at once. They all had that same messed up dream. And if that was real, then they have really come back from that hell. The thought hits even harder when they start wondering if the goblins in the first round were all real. Someone asks if they will be sent back again next month. Then another one notices that one of the boys still is not getting up. They rush over and shake him, calling for Kim Taishik to wake up. He does not respond. His body stays limp on the pavement. One of them checks his breathing. Another feels for a pulse. Nothing. They realize Taishik is dead. The shock spreads across the group as they stare at his body. Ryu Min's face tightens when he understands what that means. The people waking up here are the ones who survived. The rest are corpses. The camera pulls back over the plaza and shows bodies scattered everywhere while survivors sit up in confusion among them. Someone says only half survived. Then the question no one wants to ask comes next. Will the next round be like this too? Ryu Min stares ahead with sweat rolling down his face. His hands shake, but a wild smile starts pulling at his mouth. He looks completely rattled as he asks himself if this is insane.